Now, Mike, let's talk about something that actually did happen.
Yeah.
Formula E. So, you got an update for us?
We do. We do. Actually, the Formula E series was very, very exciting for the Nissan Formula E team here in the last race. Of course, we're talking about round 12, which happened on June 24th. This actually was a U.S. Circuit in Portland, specifically at the Portland International Raceway. We mentioned this in the last episode. This is an inaugural racetrack for the Formula E series. This is the first time. And I got to say, though, if you are a Nissan fan, and I hope you are if you're watching us, this was a wildly entertaining race, both at qualifying and during the race. Uh, Again, wildly entertaining. There was a lot of a show of strength for Nissan, but also there was heartbreak in it, and I'll get into that. So let's start with qualifying. Again, this was only one race, a single race. When you got into qualifying, both our drivers, Sasha Fenestras and Norman Nato, they both qualified in the top three cars for again for qualifying. In fact, both of our drivers once again competed against each other during the duels segment of qualifying. Ultimately, Sasha Fenestras finished in third position for the race. Meanwhile, Norman Nato was in second place, his starting position for the race. Norman Nato missed the pole position by only 79 thousandths of a second. It was so close. When you saw that final duel in qualifying, for a moment there, he had the lead, and it wasn't until the end that it slipped away. So again, as you're watching this, this would be one of only a few times that Nissan has had a pole this season, and again, that was very much the entertaining part. So obviously, because of this, you can tell that Nissan, uh, their um, their strategy when it comes to qualifying and their performance in qualifying has improved a lot. If you think about what's been going on in the beginning of this same season, it wasn't always the case, and so in the last, you might say, the last 3 or 4 rounds, you've seen a huge improvement from the Formula E team. Uh, Moving into the race, though, very much a strong start for both of our drivers. Norman Otto at one play from laps 4 through 11 actually led the race, first place. Um, Ultimately, though, we had Sasha Fenestras have a damaged wing, front wing, in lap 6. It obviously caused him to have to pit and replace that wing. Ultimately, he finished P15, not bringing any points in for the team because of that, unfortunately, though. But again, it was a very, he was at the front of the pack um, when that accident happened. So, had that not happened, he may have had a much, much more successful finish. Meanwhile, Norminato, he definitely stayed up in the front of the pack for a long time, but it wasn't until he lost some positions right around the time that he started doing that attack mode. We've talked about this, how
Yeah.
Formula E works. There's this particular little strip of the track.
Hit the
Let's call it,
strip.
it's a strip, yeah. It's supposed to give the car. It's a qualification or a rule of the race where if you go over this particular area of the track, it enables you with a few minutes of extra power.
Super boost.
Unfortunately, it didn't really seem to work out for him, though. He did lose positions, and he wasn't able to have enough time to get back up to the front. Ultimately, though, he did finish P9. He did bring home 2 points for the team. So ultimately, this last race, Nissan gains an extra 2 points as a constructor, and overall, they are eighth place as a constructor currently.
Yes.
Now, moving into the upcoming races, rounds 13 and 14 are happening in the streets of Rome. You got to think about it, how much these guys travel and how fast and how often they travel around the world for this thing. Again, before they were in the Middle East in Jakarta, now they're on the west coast of the U.S. And this weekend they're going to be in Italy, Rome, for God's sakes. So this weekend, July 15th and 16th, as you can see here on my screen, this is a 2.1 mile circuit, street circuit, 19 turns. We've got this particular configuration has been used before. I don't recall exactly Nissan's typical success rate or typical finishing, but this should be a very, very fun event. And I think that as we've seen again in the last 3 or 4 races, Nissan's performance improve. Um, I'm definitely rooting for them to see more of the similar results in qualifying and during the race. So hey, we'll continue to keep you guys posted.